Happy Mother's Day weekend, everyone. I was just sitting here. I'm sitting out here in the yard and watching the ducks. The ducks are amazing still. They were a great addition to the household. Um, and I've been contemplating about all the things that I've noticed God moving in our life, and the growth and the challenges and just all of it. And I'm in the middle of stepping out into something, and it's wild, the process it has been, because there's so many things that have challenged me that I did not know I was going to be challenged with until I was standing right in front of, like, hey, are you going to do this thing or not? And I would come up with like all these little micro excuses, and just kind of just back off a little bit. I don't know. Do you know what, like, whenever you want to go after something, like, it's burning in your heart to do, but then there's also the fear of not being qualified and all that stuff, right? And so if you know Jesus and you know the Lord, you know that he says that, do not fear, I will be with you. I have gone before you, right? That's what you know up here, but whether or not you believe it in here, that is quite another question, right? And so depending on what the answer to that question is going to show you whether or not you are going to just like go for it and do it, or if you're going to have a little work to do. And it's beautiful because it's not about getting there. It's literally, the prize is the journey. That is your prize. And I know, like, oh, finances and all these things. Listen, God always provides. He always provides. We just don't always give him the opportunity to do it because we're too busy hanging out in fear land and wondering about what if land, and we're not trusting. And so we miss that provision, right? Like, I don't mean he withholds it. I mean, like, we don't see it. It's like, it's already there. He's already provided for us, but we don't see it because we're so busy looking at the waves going on around us instead of looking at Jesus. Which brings me to what I wanted to say. I was reflecting just now on how much am I willing to commit to a full-on business. And I say that because, I've as many of you know, I've done a lot of things over the last several years. There's been a lot of transition in our lives. We served in the mission field. We moved a lot. There was just a lot going on. And I wasn't in a space to start the business that has been on my heart for many, many years. And there was also, like I said before, all the stuff that the Lord had to work through, but I didn't know that. So you don't know until, like, he's working you through it, and like, you're like, oh, I see. So anyway, I was just thinking about, like, what am I realistically able to commit, like, logistically, like, how many hours a week am I willing to commit to this? When, what are those parameters? What are those boundaries that I want to put up, right? Because this is like, my family is my first ministry. Nobody else can mom for me. And if you're a dad, nobody else can dad for you. Hear that. It's important, which is the whole point of this video. So I was sitting there and I was asking myself those questions and thinking about it, and it was like, well, I realized that I spend far more time praying about the call on my life, what I feel like, this thing that is being birthed in my life. I spend more time talking to God about it and praying about it than I do, like, boots on the ground activity. And that's so backwards, right? Like, you think, oh, okay, well, get your butt up and go do something. But the cool thing is, you guys, that's what's working. I have witnessed God do things over the last several weeks of my life that I could have never accomplished. He has put me in conversations with people that I don't know how I ever even could have gotten in the room with that person, you know? And it's still like the whole work, it's still very stretching. It's still very like, this is like a process of discovery. He's not handing me something and saying, here you go. It's like, here, do you want to discover what I have for you? And he's so good. He's such a good father, because he doesn't, you know, when the Israelites took the promised land, they didn't take it all at once. And there was a reason for that. He said, so that way that the beasts of the field don't overtake you, because you won't have the capacity to steward all of it all at once. Like, I'm going to give you some, and then you're going to stretch, and you're going to continue to stretch and grow, and that's how you will take the land. And I think we always want to like just, oh, would you just hand it to me? But that doesn't do anything for us. It doesn't teach us anything. It doesn't teach us what we need to know and how to steward that blessing. So what's my point? My point is, be willing to spend more time with God than you do doing the thing. Like, if you have to track it on your calendar and, keep track, log the hours or whatever, do it. And, just give God more and try it. Just try it out. See what happens. And it may take a little time. So, it's not like it's not like you press a button, but it's a process. And what happens is, first of all, the wisdom that the Lord will give you as you sit with him, as you say, hey, you are so much more important to me. It just washes over you, and things start to change in the way you think. And then, yes, you start to see, like, he'll tell you to go places. He'll say, hey, call this person. That's the dogs. There's an acceleration. So if you are someone who you are trying to get something off the ground, I know there's so many of us starting something right now, and that's because God has called you. Okay, if you are stepping into something right now, listen, God called you. The enemy can twist it around, so don't just assume that everything you're doing is in perfect alignment. You have to seek the Lord, but I want you to know that the call is there, and you can answer that, and you can do that in a godly way where you're walking with Jesus. And wow, what God will do. So if that's you, take Monday off. Kick the guilt out and sit with the Lord. Have your business meeting with the Lord. Sit and worship, sit and pray, sit and get in his word. Like, literally, if it's nice where you're at, I sit outside so much. This is like my little space, and it's so comfortable, and you can just like put on some worship music and just enjoy creation around you. Do you know that is worship? Do you know that is connecting with the Father? Like, you don't have to be doing anything. Just try it out and see what happens, because I have witnessed so many things happen over the last couple of weeks of my life. I could have never have done any of these things. And yes, there's work involved. There is work involved. But more often than not, we're the ones telling ourselves, hey, you need to get your butt in gear, you need to get this done, you need to get that done, and what about this, and what about that, and maybe if you're a mom, like, you're like, well, hey, what about my, my kids, like, I can't control that, and they need me. Well, I'm learning as a mother that maybe I've been doing things that my daughter didn't need me to do. It just was working out in her favor that I was doing them, right? Like, listen, moms, we love to mom. Okay. So anyway, yes, I understand all the constraints, but I also have experienced how God will multiply. Anything that you give him that you don't feel like you have to give, he will multiply it. So if you care about the thing that is burning on your heart, heed this word and start carving out time to sit with God and just worship him. Thank him for the business. You know, you can pray over the business, thank him for the business, and declare, make declarations over it. Oh my goodness, grab your AI and ask it for scriptures that tie to God blessing your business, and start declaring those scriptures over your business. That is such a far better use of your time than so many other things. Like, you know how everyone's talking about like your processes, and make sure you're spending time on the right things, on the things that make an impact. And you know, you have entire like coaching practices that teach people about these things. Do you know what you need to do? You need to take that concept and apply it to prayer and worship, and just sitting with the Lord and asking him questions, and just hanging out with him when you should be working, when you should be working, when you think you should be working. It'll feel like you're playing hooky. You'll feel guilty about it. And then when that comes, guilt is not from the Lord. He doesn't guilt trip you to get you to do things. That is not the way he carries himself. You just tell that thought to get out, and you submit to the Lord, and you enter into his rest, and let him teach your little nervous system that it doesn't have to be on go all the time, and that entering into his rest is the best and most productive thing you could ever possibly do.